These are some of the things that were in my wallet. I still got some stuff from California, but just like in Illinois, how I had a food stamp here up until now. I had a food stamp card to survive in San Diego. Here's my ID from when I lived at St. Vincent de Paul Village, the biggest homeless shelter in San Diego. It's my California ID, and I'm covering up the number so I don't get in trouble. I got in trouble for putting it on. I got a warning on YouTube for having it on camera one time, and then they let you like appeal your warning strike, and I appealed it saying it's my ID, and I chose to put it on there, so they actually won my appeal. But I took the video down anyways because my buddy Sean suggested that I was stupid and idiot and retarded and someone would steal my identity, so I listened to him. There's my gold card from when I used to be to play the slot machines at the Tampa Hard Rock Casino, and had my miracle run. I quit my Rooms To Go furniture sales job in my first night. The same night I quit my job, I brought $50 to the 1-2 no limit hold'em table, and I stayed for 20 hours total, and I probably played at least 13 of those hours and walked around and played the slots and took a break and ate the rest of the time. But I turned $50 into like $1,100 my first night as a poker player, and then long story short, I blew almost all my money. I thought I was a baller because they had a high stakes slot machine room, and I was in there doing $20 spins and blew so much money on slots. It's my niece Vivian, love her to death. Here's my Southern Illinois University ID. I had my Saluki t-shirt on earlier, but I feel a lot comfortable on a cutoff. It's from Gus Macker in Ohio. Here's my N1 shorts. Anyways, Kroger Plus card. My stepdad's been working for Kroger for over 10 years, and I actually had a job myself at the Kroger warehouse. Right out of high school, they start you off at $9.50 an hour for like a month and a half to 2 months, and when they train you, and then they give you a huge raise. They bump you up to $12 an hour at 17, 18 years old. And I had I wanted to be a pro basketball player when I was in high school and college, so or after high school. So I had high expectations for myself, so I quit literally the day they gave me a pay raise of $12 an hour. The same exact day I quit my job at Kroger warehouse. And man, if I would have been banking that $12 an hour at 18 years old, I would have had a nice car a long time ago. I just went to the bank and got $20 in ones and like $20 in quarters to do laundry. I like using ones because I can't stand it when people tell me they don't have change. So I make sure. Did that show? I make sure that I always give people, if something costs $20, I'll give them $20 in ones. This is when I lived in San Diego, and I had a 4-day. I worked at Carlsberger Dodge and Chrysler as a car salesman, and once a month you get a 4-day weekend with the option to come into work if you want, but you can take all 4 days off if you're and they let you. They'll let you take it off either way, but if you're successful, they don't, they won't beg you to come in. But instead of taking my entire 4-day vacation to Las Vegas, I had like it was it was like halfway into the third day, and then I left at like 7:30 at night, and I drove to Vegas, and my best friend Chris's Volkswagen Jetta, and it had like these low profile tires, and I felt every single stinking bump on that way there. And in California they have these like almost like as big as this like these round white reflectors instead of like the reflectors that are parallel or like even with the road. So like anytime I had to change lanes, I thought I was gonna bust the rims or pop a tire and be stranded all the way out in Nevada in the middle of the desert. I stayed in the Rio. It was $75. I have a video up if you want to find it of the room I stayed in. It's one of my older videos. I stayed in the Ipanema Tower. Ipanema. Oh, the first night when I got there, it was you know, I got there when it was dark and it was raining, and the power went out in the entire Rio, and it took me like an hour to get the courage, but I went in and I was walking around in the pitch black with my little just using the light from my cell phone, and like there was no air, so it was like you could hardly breathe. And as soon as the power went out, all the groupers or the dealers had to like hurry up and lock up all the casino chips as fast as they could, so no one would run off with them, because the cameras wouldn't be able to see. And the emergency breaker lights didn't even kick in, so there was absolutely no lights. But yeah, I stayed in the Rio, played poker at the Bellagio, and I only played for the first night. I played for an hour and a half, and I made $57. So most of that went towards the $75 Rio stay. And then the second day, when it was bright outside, I went there. I woke up at like noon, and then by the time like 1:30, 2 o'clock rolled around, I was back at the Bellagio, and I saw Patrick Antonius and David Benjamin. So they were like, my table was 2 tables to the right of Bobby's room. So Bobby's room was like one table, and then there was Bobby's room, like the glass. It's like a big glass wall, so everyone can see the pros play for like $100,000 pots or whatever. And it was, I actually walked up to the door. I was gonna say hi to everyone, but I was kind of nervous. And then Patrick Antonius like had like a mouthful of food, and he looked up at me like, I don't know if I can do this right. He was like, whatever. Yeah, he had like Chinese food all in his mouth, and he just looked at me and didn't say anything to me. But Patrick Antonius noticed me, and he probably noticed me because I'm 6'8", but I definitely noticed him because I had seen him on TV, and it was like celebrity shell shock. I was like, oh my god, he's right in front of me. And same thing with David Benjamin. Seeing him right there. And then there was some older white guy. He was kind of tannish, gray hair. I thought it was Cyril Mooley, but this guy was skinny, so it wasn't Cyril. And I have no idea. He was probably just some rich guy. I'm pretty sure he's a big poker player. I'm just not sure who he is. Phil Ivey freaking was taking a break off playing craps in his private craps room, or he was sleeping or partying or